Loads of stories to get through this morning. Lots of people pointing out that they couldn't hear me and now they can. Probably a bit disappointed that you can hear me, to be fair. Loads of stories to get through, focusing on this sort of, do we call it a takeover? What do we call it? This investment, this minority takeover, this minority purchase, this Sir Jim Ratcliffe deal? What's the correct terminology? Anyway, we're going to be talking about that. Also, some transfer news. It seems that United could be bringing in a few faces in January and also probably getting rid of a few. There's the usual suspects, of course, being touted with the move. However, that does change because whilst someone like Jadon Sancho, for example, looks like he's heading out the door, a few months ago, you would have said Scott McTominay and Harry Maguire were probably going to go in January. And now they're starting every game. So we'll wait and see what happens on that front, but we'll keep you posted. Anyway, loads of people in the comments, a lot of them saying that they couldn't hear me, and now they can. Aaron, Matthew Coward, Sam Ellis, James Barry, BMW Racing 1974, Ute Hube, Mustafa Chadid, GTA Jedi, Colin Coupleditch, Alan Keys, Witterbird, Ronnie Johnson, Chikoy Trot, all saying hello, good morning, good to hear you, Jay, all that good stuff. James says, Jay, always the ultimate professional. Sarcasm, it's the lowest form of it, although that is pretty funny. Right, let's talk about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. It says here, if we can just move that other little running order out of the way slightly, so I can, no, that's it, that's the one. Man United takeover, this is in the Daily Mirror, this is on their live blog. Ratcliffe to finally seal 1.3 million deal, or billion I should say, 1.3 million will get you anything nowadays, as new owner targets first transfer. So you can see there, if we scroll down, it says Manchester United are about to enter a new era, nearly a whole year of being up for sale. British billionaire Sir Jim Ratcliffe is at long last close to sealing his 1.3 billion deal to purchase a 25% stake in the club, a move which is expected to be confirmed during the ongoing international break. I sort of had some of this yesterday because there was talk last week that the announcement could be Monday, but we saw David Ornstein, I think, was on the NBC Sports over the weekend, and he said the club wouldn't announce it on Monday because it was Sir Bobby Charlton's funeral, and that just wouldn't be correct to make an announcement on the day where we should be remembering United's greatest ever player, sort of knocking that off the headlines, for want of a better expression, with all the takeover or investment or whatever you want to call it news, yeah. So the club obviously held back on it. Doesn't mean it's going to be today. All we're hearing now is it's going to be during this international break, so it could be any time during the next week or so. But as always, we'll keep you posted. It looks like it's going to happen now. I think it'd be a drastic turnaround, a sort of seismic shift for it not to happen. There's still some people in there on Twitter who think that Sheikh Jassim's going to come back in. I've seen that. I've seen like people say, "Oh, don't believe everything you read. It's Sheikh Jassim isn't done that yet. There could be an 11th hour bid." Get over that. He's done. It's time to move on, and it's time to look at what Sir Jim Ratcliffe's going to bring to the table, and hopefully that will be some transfers, because yes, we need investment in the stadium. Yes, we need investment in the training ground. I think the most of that 340 million that he's going to invest, a lot of that is going to be spent, is it 340 or 240, I forget. A lot of it's going to be spent on the training ground. That's where the bulk of that money is going to be going, on infrastructure at the training ground. Some of it on the stadium. I don't know how much it's going to be for transfers. There's still the issue of FFP as well, so you might have to move some players on if you want to bring some new players in. The trouble you've got at Manchester United is our massive wage bill. And when I say massive wage bill, I'm not even talking about collectively, I'm talking about individually as well. Some of our players are on stupid money. Now, I don't blame players for signing a contract that's put in front of them that pays them lots of money. I do blame the Manchester United hierarchy. And this is something Sir Jim Ratcliffe's going to have to look at, because if you are going to run Manchester United as a successful brand, for want of a better word, or even a successful business, then you cannot afford to keep putting players on these huge contracts, thereby making it impossible to move them on. We've had this post Sir Alex Ferguson. Players have come in constantly and we've given big contracts, big wages, and then when it's not worked out, we try and move them on and no one's going to offer them that deal. No one's going to offer them that money. Well, we've been left in a situation like we were with Alexis Sanchez, where we went to Inter and we were paying half his wages. We were paying him to play for someone else. It's ludicrous, and you shouldn't be running the club like that, and hopefully that can change. And I'm not talking about saving the owners money or giving the Glazers more money in their pockets. I'm talking about making it easier for Manchester United to buy players as well as move them on, because we want to start being more successful in the transfer market. Our transfer record post Sir Alex has been woeful. It has been an absolute shambles. Let's not kid ourselves. We have wasted so much money on players that weren't good enough, weren't ready to come to Manchester United, weren't up to the job. We've given players longer contracts than we should have given them. We've given them extensions when we shouldn't have given them. We've given them wages that they wouldn't get anywhere else. It has been a farce. Now, I understand the Glazers have bled this club dry. They've taken dividends. They've put us in all this debt. They've wasted more money than anyone else. But that doesn't mean that we haven't wasted money on transfers. Two things can be true. Yes, the Glazers have been absolutely parasitic, but we've also wasted so much money on transfers, and our transfer policy has been embarrassing at times. Not just buying players, but selling them as well. I think Dan James is one of our best ever sales, and he left a few years ago for 29 million. A club like Manchester United should be able to move players on for a decent price, but we can't because the wages we put them on, it's just pathetic. Loads of people in the comments, I know what you think about Manchester United's transfer policy, what you think about Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in, what should be his priority, what would you like to see happen? Day one, you're Sir Jim Ratcliffe, you arrive at Manchester United, you go, right, the first thing I'm going to do is... Let me know in the comments. Jay's Parker says, morning Jay, love what you've done with your hair today. Thank you. I spent ages working on it. I'm glad someone noticed. Duncan D's Nuts says, plot twist. Ratcliffe is getting his 25% in to get a massive payday off the Saudi sale. Really? Okay. Don't see that happening for a multitude of reasons. Saudi sale, I don't think anyone is expecting the Saudis to buy Manchester United. I don't know how that works with them owning Newcastle as well. That could be an issue. And that would be pretty bizarre if he's just come in just to sell it, the club on, or he's 25% on to make some money. Also, Duncan D's Nuts. D's Nuts. My lad keeps saying that. I keep having to tell him off. He's only 8. Adam says, Juve said they will take Sancho on loan, but want us to pay most of his wages. Face palm emoji. This is where we're at. And I think that might actually be a deal that benefits everyone, because I don't think Jadon Sancho eating his packed lunch with the Rezzies is getting us anywhere. It's not getting him anywhere, and it's not helping Manchester United. Him going to Juve takes him away from the training ground, takes him away from being an issue. I think that's got to have a negative effect on some of his teammates, ever so slightly, because they are pals with him. I don't think it's a good situation. It's not good for the manager as well. Plus, he keeps getting asked about it. It's a little bit of a distraction. Jadon Sancho can go to Juve, get his career going again, and hopefully that can lead to a permanent sale, because I think he's done at Manchester United. You may disagree. Let us know what you think. And also, hit that like button. Let's get to 250 likes, eh? Come on, people. We need to hit the like button. Right, should we talk about a player I know nothing about? United keeping tabs on Serie A striker. According to a report by calciomercato.it, United are keeping tabs on Lecce striker Nikola Krstovic. It is claimed that United are looking to add another striker to their ranks in the coming months, and Krstovic, has been identified as a potential option. The Montenegro international 23 has scored 6 goals in 17 games for Lecce so far this season. Really? Okay, nice one. Yeah, decent return. I'm not knocking it. It's a little bit better than 1 in 3. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all right. But is he the answer to our problems? Is he? A kid who's 23, he's not a youngster, not really in football terms. He's 23 years old. He's got 6 goals in 17 games. That's all right. I'm not having a dig at him. It strikes me as a bit underwhelming. That's all I'm going to say. Let me know what you think. But no, he's not. This according to my records, that looks wrong, that. I've seen he's got 4 in 7. So let's have a look here. Let's get into this, because this is all very confusing. I don't know where they're getting their stats from. The Manchester Evening News via Calcio Mercato. Let me know if you've watched this kid as well, if you know much about him. Let's have a look at what we're seeing here, what he's done. Yeah, so he's got 11, that's better. He's got 11 appearances in Serie A, and he's got 4 goals. So, oh God, this website's a nightmare to navigate. So that's all right. I mean, I don't want to be harsh on him, because you know, he's scoring some goals, but I don't know, it just seems a little bit like, yeah, I don't know a lot about him. Let me know in the comments if you do. 4 goals in 11 games is what I'm seeing here for Lecce this season. Although, I will say this, right, let's just have a look at it, because I don't know anything about this. So I'm learning this as I'm speaking to you, as you probably gathered by my sort of, you know, blubbering. So here we go. Blubbering? That's not the right word. Blundering. Yeah, he scored 3 in his first 3 games this season. He scored against Fiorentina, he scored against Salernitana, and he scored against Monza. And then in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, he's got 1 goal. So, I don't know. He's not for me. Having done, my extensive research of looking at Wikipedia and transfer market. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is he someone you know about? Is he someone you'd like to see come to Manchester United? Do you even think he's an option? Because that's a bit wishy-washy, innit? Keeping tabs on someone. It's come from Calcio Mercato, who do like to put a lot of stories out there, especially stories about Manchester United. It doesn't seem too emphatic, that one. I don't think you can go out there and get Krstovic put on the back of United shirt anytime soon. It seems a bit like, we might be in for him, we might not. He's doing all right. He had a bit of a purple patch beginning of the season. It's tailed off. I'm not sure he's the answer. Let me know in the comments. Let us know what you think. Dennis Ross says, it's better than keeping Martial. Højlund needs a competitor who's really competing. I agree with that. 100%. We do need another striker. I don't know if this kid Krstovic is going to be that guy, though. I think you might need someone who's more likely to get you some goals. Let me know who that might be. There was talk one there of maybe Ivan Toney. That cooled very quickly. That felt more fan-driven than club-driven. A lot of fans would like Ivan Toney at the club. I know he's on a suspension until January, but you think if he comes back in January and plays anywhere near the levels he did before his suspension, he'd be a very, very useful player for Manchester United. And I, for one, wouldn't mind seeing that. I don't know if it's going to happen. Brentford's slapping a £100 million price tag on him. I doubt they'll get that for him. I think they could probably, I'm just guessing, probably take about 70, 80 or whatever. But would United spend that on him in January? I'm not so sure. The other one being muted was Victor Osimhen. He's going to cost you more than Ivan Toney. Apparently, he's not 100% happy at Napoli. We know he's had issues there. Or more, they've had issues with him. Some of the social media treatment of him has been ridiculous by the club as well. I don't know what they're thinking. But again, can you get him in January for the price they'd want? I doubt it. The other lad was the Iranian, whose name escapes me. Forgive me, I've forgotten it. Is it Mehdi Jeremie? Is it the kid? Yes, I'm getting a yes from producer Ethan over there. He looks all right. He's scored a lot of goals last season. This season he hasn't scored any goals, or not that many goals, and he's 31 years old. So none of these possible strikers look either likely or that useful or good enough. So we need someone who can come in and do a job. The trouble you've got is strikers don't grow on trees, do they? Also in January, clubs don't want to lose a goal-scoring striker because A, it's very difficult to replace them, and B, you're in the middle of the season. It's like, we're in the middle of the season. This is our guy that's scoring all these goals. We don't want to lose him. So, I don't know, man. I think United might have to go to think outside the box, as they say. Maybe look at South America. Maybe look at... Do you go for another up-and-coming striker, Rasmus Højlund, someone who can do a bit of a job now but is more long-term? Or do you go for the short-term option, like we have been doing over the last few years, someone who's in their early 30s who can do a job for the next sort of 6 months, and then you look in the summer at bringing in someone long-term? Hit me with your suggestions, right? You lot watch more football than anyone. Hit me with your suggestions. Who should United be going for as a striker in January? I want to know. Samuel Pickens says, who will get Toney, you think, Jay? I don't know, There's talk we've got of Arsenal, isn't there? I don't know how likely that is, though, because like that I was saying earlier, that Brentford price tag, I think that's putting a lot of clubs off. Ross Murphy says, is Jeremie still available? I don't know. Jamie Gillespie says, any words from Ethan on his big fight with Alexia this weekend? I saw something going on in the comments. That's a proper clash of the titans, that one, isn't it, eh? Bloody hell. Ronnie Johnson says, do you think we will look at Greenwood end of the season as he can play up front and on the right? I had this in my news yesterday. There's talk of him going to Getafe a bit longer, not on a permanent deal, on an extended loan deal. So he could go there next season. Getafe apparently are keen to keep him. United, not keen to let him go on a permanent deal, from what we gather from certain reports, but happy to let him go on another extended loan. I don't know what's happening with Mason Greenwood. I don't think that chapter, the Manchester United chapter, has finished yet, for several reasons, and I'll go through them quickly before we move on, because quite frankly I'm sick of talking about Mason Greenwood. First thing though, you can hit that like button. We're still nowhere near 250 likes. Hit that like, people. Hit the like button. Come on, you can do it. Just press that button. Click it, get your phone on like that. There you go. Mason Greenwood. We had that statement, didn't we, from the club, from Greenwood and from Richard Arnold, and I felt there was enough ambiguity there in terms of him leaving the club permanently. It didn't say he's done or he's going, that's it, his career at Manchester United has now come to a close, whatever. It was the next chapter or whatever in his footballing career. It felt a little like there was just enough there where if you were a lawyer or whatever, you could go, well, actually, technically that's not saying he's done forever at Manchester United Football Club. I felt they left the door slightly open. That was my take on it when that statement came out from both him, Richard Arnold, and the club itself. Plus, you've got new owner coming in, or new part owner, and a new team. Richard Arnold is more than likely going to be replaced as CEO. So whatever he said anyway, you could go, well, that he weren't now to do with us now. He's gone. That doesn't mean the new CEO, whoever that may be, is going to come in and going to want to bring Mason Greenwood back. He might not. But I think the telling thing for me with the whole Mason Greenwood scenario was that Erik ten Hag was obviously willing to have Mason Greenwood back in his team. I don't think that there was a situation where Mason Greenwood was going to come back into the team and Erik ten Hag was going to find out about it when he walked into the dressing room and saw Mason Greenwood sat there with his boots on. He must have been consulted because we knew from the leaks that we were getting that the club were willing to bring him back. Now, ten Hag had said it's the club's decision. I think the club had said to ten Hag, look, we're going to bring him back. And ten Hag was like, yeah, that's fine with me. So I don't think the manager's completely against it, because if the manager was, then that'd be a closed book. I think Richard Arnold left it slightly open, but also he might not be here. So we'll wait and see what happens with Mason Greenwood. I know it's a very emotive subject. I know a lot of people don't want to see Mason Greenwood play for Manchester United again. I understand that. I'm just saying, from a sort of practical point of view, whether it could happen. I think it could. I'm not saying it will or it should. I'm just saying it could. Right, let's talk about Todibo. Because this is a lad who's been linked with us for quite some time. It says United considering. How many times are we going to have these in inverted? Monitoring, keeping tabs, considering, thinking about, dwelling on, scouting or sending scouts. There's another one. United considering a move for Nice centre-back Jean-Clair Todibo. Jean-Clair Todibo, according to a report by some paper that I'll never read. The French international 23 has been heavily linked with a move to Old Trafford in recent months, and it is reported that the Reds want to sign a right-sided centre-back. Centre and back? What's that? Get a grip. Who subbed that at the Evening News? Who's wrote it and who subbed it? Honestly, come on. It's basic. And back's not even a word. Centre and back as soon as January, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's expected investment in United could reportedly boost their chances of signing him. Ratcliffe currently owns French club Nice, of course. Of course. That'll go down well with the Nice fans, won't it? Eh? Listen, don't worry, there's not going to be a conflict of interest now that I've taken over part of Manchester United. I'm still 100% committed to Nice. You don't have to worry about anything. There's nothing to see here. I'm 100% behind this club, but I am going to take your best centre-back and give it to a new club. Could be a little bit of an issue there, but we have been linked with him quite a lot. If we're willing to pay the money that would be fair price for him, then that could happen. I don't see Sir Jim Ratcliffe just telling Nice they've got to sell him to us. I think that could open up a whole can of worms for him. You never know. As always, we'll keep you posted. Let me know in the comments what you think about this kid, because we've been linked with him for quite some time. I'm not going to pretend I know a lot about him. I don't. I just listen to you lot. Is he any good? Theo Turgoose says, I can see us loan Sancho and bring back Greenwood because we won't spend 200 million. So he says, Zozo, that's 4, that, innit? I always get my Roman numerals wrong. Zozo 4 says, super Paul Mullin. Ross Murphy says, the club are not done with Greenwood. They're afraid they might miss his talents. I think there is a bit of FOMO going on with, I think you're right. Again, watch this space. I'm not saying it should happen. I'm just saying, it wouldn't surprise me with this club. Brenaldinho says, Back plays for Senegal. Very good. Tobias Nilsson says, Scalvini and Bastoni instead. Paul Lucas says, watch, we still overpay for Todibo. Jamie Gillespie says, would be great if we swapped him for someone, no fee involved, and Nice owe us money if he's not the new Rio. And El says, Jay needs to buy Sancho and Anthony Maguire for 300 million. Imagine that. Imagine they did that. That'd be hysterical. Jack Stevens says, Chiesa, swap deal, baby. Should we talk about other players and positions we've been linked with? One of these has been doing the rounds for a little while. This is in the Metro. It says Erik ten Hag to target 2 new Manchester United additions with Sir Jim Ratcliffe funds. If you go down there, it says Erik ten Hag has already decided his transfer priorities for the January window and will be giving funds once Sir Jim Ratcliffe has sealed his Manchester United takeover deal, according to reports. Again, they're quoting the Sun. We will never have the Sun on this screen. Don't buy the Sun. But if you scroll down, it says here he wants players. Now, one player that he's been linked with, I think if we keep going, has been... Sorry, scroll up a minute. Did I miss that then? Did it say it? It's saying keep going. It's saying that we've got issues at fullback. We're missing Shaw, Malacia, Wan-Bissaka. Has obviously come back in now. The player there, you can see, United have been linked with a lot of right-backs in the past and are long-time admirers of Jeremie Frimpong by Leverkusen, though the Bundesliga contenders are extremely unlikely to sell in the middle of the season. So that's a difficult one to go through. I think the other sort of player or area this article is talking about here is winger. If we scroll down to the bottom here, it says... Sorry, not that far. Keep going up again. Let's have a look. I think it says here about obviously Jadon Sancho being ostracised. It talks about us looking at other areas as well, potentially a winger. I mean, I don't know. I think that for me, the priority has got to be a striker. That has got to be the priority we go through. I love Rasmus Højlund. There you go. Sorry, there it is. A new winger, it says there. I missed it. It's also a big priority for Ten Hag. Ideally, it's someone capable of playing on either flank. With the Dutchman unhappy with the lack of output from his current selection of wide men. I get that. I understand it and I agree with it. But I think a striker has got to be a priority. You can't rely on Anthony Martial. We love Rasmus Højlund, but he's only 20. He's had a slight little injury worries. He had an injury with his back when he arrived, and now I think he's got this hamstring injury. Plus, you don't want running into the ground. And as well, I'm not criticising the lad, but he hasn't scored in the Premier League. So you can't just rely on him in the Premier League. He needs some help. He needs someone to help him out with goals in the Premier League. I don't think just buying another winger is the answer. I might be wrong. Let me know what you think. Don't forget as well, we've got Amad Diallo to come back into the mix. He's a winger too. Let me know what you think. Do you think we could sign a winger? Do you think we could sign this kid Jeremie Frimpong? Although it's unlikely. He has been linked with United quite heavily over the last few couple of transfer windows as well. Sir Walt says, bring in Greenwood, use funds from Sancho to sign a striker and centre-back. Guest 666 official says, do you think they should focus on squad depth, etc.? Yeah, we should be looking at squad depth, but for me, strikers. We need a striker. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you to everyone who got involved in the comments in the chat. We're back later on. Joe Smith has got an interview with Kieran Maguire from The Price of Football. He's a football finance expert. We have him on the channel all the time. He will be talking about this investment for Sir Jim Ratcliffe, what this means both short-term and long-term. That'll be up this afternoon. Make sure you're checking out that. Don't forget, if you've not done, to hit that like button. Don't forget, if you've not done, to subscribe to the channel. I've been Jay Motty. This has been The Paper Talk, live from the studio. Thanks for watching.